Today is an average day in the streets of Dhaka, now the most desperate of cities. More desperate, I'm told, than even Calcutta and Shanghai in the 30s. In normal times, this lorry collects the bodies of a few dozen destitutes. Now it collects hundreds of bodies, all of them starved to death, including this 11-year-old girl whose name was Hasna, who died in the gutter a few hours before we arrived, with her mother and brother beside her, still with nothing to eat.
Well, I've been out here really for 30 years. I came out in 1942, and I think I can quite honestly say that this is by far the worst emergency that I've ever seen in this part of the world. There have been others, but when I was young, I didn't really pay all that much attention. Yes. But latterly, I have seen bad years in India and Assam and Bengal, but nothing like this. If you go early in the morning, you'll find bodies lying around in the streets of Dhaka. And the other day I saw a mother who had lost her child, and she was using the child's body, in fact, as a means of getting money, begging.
So this film will go out on January the 2nd. How much worse will the situation be here in Bangladesh?
Starvation cases could only get worse. This is I think perhaps the basic thing. There are many starvation cases which are now medical cases, and if they're left longer, there will be lots more deaths.
In other words, they're dying.
They are dying. This is the heart of the matter.
And by January the 2nd, they'll be dead.
Many of them will, yes, most certainly.
Why have these children been allowed to starve? Why have they not been saved? The answer is not what you have often been told, that Bangladesh is so corrupt it is beyond redemption. For some of us who came here at the birth of this country, reporters, foreign aid officials, political do-gooders, Bangladesh was no more than a brief cynical romance, a source of good copy. And now the story and the cause are stale, the problem too great, the tragedy unfashionable. These people are starving to death because 2 crops were ruined by flood and because of certain major political decisions taken outside Bangladesh. We were too concerned with oil to notice that in 1974 food became a political weapon, a more lethal weapon than oil. We can do without oil, we cannot do without food. The United States Secretary of State, Dr. Henry Kissinger, controls the distribution of all American surplus food abroad. Not one country on his priority list is hungry. All are Dr. Kissinger's client states. All comply with his world strategy in return for favors such as food. At the top of the priority list are Chile, Cambodia, South Korea, and South Vietnam. South Vietnam, which gets more American food than any other country, not only exports its own rice, but openly sells America's food to buy arms in order to continue a war on America's behalf. Bangladesh is not on Dr. Kissinger's priority list.
Dr. Rudin, would you ask him if most of the people who are buried in the cemetery die of starvation?
এই যে গোরস্থানে যারা মারা যাচ্ছে তাদের মধ্যে বেশিরভাগ লোকই কি না খেয়ে মারা যাচ্ছে অনাহার সে বলছে যে he says that most of the cases death cases are from starvation.
On December the 8th, 1974, a secret report by the US State Department was leaked in Washington. It gave examples and details of the use of food as a means of shoring up one regime and blackmailing another. It quoted a top official whose job is to carry out Dr. Kissinger's strategic policies. He said, "To give food aid to countries just because they are starving is a pretty weak reason."
6 million people died in concentration camps during 4 years in World War II. Almost as many people may have died in Bangladesh in the last 4 years. Years of drought, flood, epidemic, a genocidal war, and now famine, perhaps the greatest famine of all. I don't draw this parallel idly. I happen to be standing in the middle of a field piled high with human skeletons, bones and skulls and pieces of human hair for as far as I can see, now being picked over by crows. This is just one cemetery in Dhaka, and today they are digging up last month's famine victims in order to bury today's victims. 85 since 7 o'clock, 10,000 since last July, and most of them young, starved children. Many of these children died because they couldn't get milk. Last year, the United Nations in Dhaka stopped feeding starving children a powder made from milk and soya beans, simply because the common market countries had bought up all American soya bean stocks to use as cattle feed. And yet the EEC Council of Ministers haggled for months before releasing a miserable £63 million as relief aid, an eighth of what they had promised to 25 hungry countries, of which Bangladesh is but one. And incidentally, many of these children died because they found it impossible to eat what they got from the much-ballyhooed World Food Conference. Nothing but platitudes.
He is his son.
That's his son.
Son.
When did he die? Just today?
আজকে মারা গেছে।
আজকে রাত্রে মারা গেছে।
Last night, yes.
How old was he?
বয়স কত ছিল?
বয়স 3 মাস।
3 months old.
Dr. Henry Kissinger opened the World Food Conference in Rome with these words.
We must proclaim a bold objective, that within a decade, no child will go to bed hungry, that no family will fear for its next day's bread, and that no human being's future and capacities will be stunted by malnutrition. Our responsibility is clear. Let the nations gathered here resolve to confront the challenge and not each other.
My colleague, Eric Piper, took these pictures at a relief camp near Dhaka, one which Dr. Kissinger did not visit when he came to Bangladesh on October the 30th, 1974. On that day, a State Department official gave reporters an off-the-record briefing. He said, "Henry never wanted Bangladesh. With China firmly in place, there is no real strategic value here. There is nothing here, really."
All the people working these fields
Yes.
have sold their crops.
Yes.
Years ahead, they've put themselves in
Yes.
pawn to buy
Yes.
food.
Exactly. They have nothing to hope for at least for another 6 to 8 months. You see, most of the crops in these areas have been damaged,
Yes.
and this is what
All
has
damaged
been-
by the flood.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who have they sold their crops to?
Well, they have sold these crops to those
the-
who have collected
Yes.
money out of relief and these all sort of advantages.
Big landowners.
Yeah,
Newly brought money men.
Yes.
An old journalist friend has brought me to this village in the district of Shirpur, some 40 miles from Dhaka. Everybody is starving here and also suffering the effects of an inflation which began not in countries like Bangladesh or in villages like this, but in the consumer world of the West. Nothing has ever been wasted here. Now even a bicycle, the means of escape, costs £150. There are few young men in this village. Some have gone in search of food, others have simply fled in despair as the famine finally cracks the Bengali tradition of family. We could not film some of the women because they are among the 5 million in Bangladesh who are going naked because they have sold their clothes for food.
Situation is. Ask him, would you, as is, what his food situation is.
আপনাদের অবস্থা কি, খাওয়া দাওয়ার অবস্থা?
খাওয়া দাওয়ার অবস্থা স্যার, আমরা গরিব মানুষ, কি খেতে পারি?
খাওয়া দাওয়ার খুব কষ্ট।
কষ্ট
আচ্ছা,
What does he say?
he's saying that we are suffering from starvation
Yes.
and we are very poor people
When,
and we cannot afford to have regular meals.
when did he last have a regular meal, a
আচ্ছা,
real meal?
আপনি কতক্ষণ আগে বা কদিন আগে ভালো করে খাইছেন?
ভালো খাওয়া স্যার আমরা কই
What does he say?
He said he never had a full belly meal for
কিছু
quite
থোড়া
some
আমরা
time.
আড়াই না খাই কি
What is he eating then?
He's eating flour, just a bit of gruel from flour.
আগে ছিলাম বেঁচে টেচে
He had lands and he was a farmer. He sold out all his land.
Why did he sell his land?
আপনি কি জন্য জমি জমি বিক্রি করছেন?
খাইবার জন্য এ তো
Just
পেট
for
ভরে
food.
খাইতে পারি না
Just for food, he sold all his landed property. And even then, he says that we cannot eat to the fullest content of the belly.
He has no land at all now.
Now he has no land at all.
Where will his next meal come from?
তো আপনি পরে কি করে খাবেন এটার সম্বন্ধে আপনার কোনো ধারণা আছে?
কি করে
জমি জমা, হ্যাঁ?
জমি জমা দেন কি করে খাও
Well, he doesn't know where he will get his food from.
This little boy is probably typical of starvation, where he doesn't look like the Belson case, but he has a distended belly. And he probably has about every kind of
Yes.
parasite and disease in him. And he's subsisting on something like the root, which he's now eating.
Yeah.
And that little boy, even though his arms are quite thick,
Yes.
is in fact starving.
Yes. And there are quite a lot of children like that in this village, even much worse than him. আপনি কি এখন অসুখ?
অসুখ পাতের অসুখ বেশি
She says that I'm ill, and this is only a sickness of starvation.
Where are these people going to get food? I mean, they can't go on like this.
No, they simply cannot go on like that. The ultimate thing is facing death. No chance, because no government relief. আপনি রিলিফ পাইছেন?
না
Relief.
দিছে না বাজি
She did
বড়
not
বড়
get-
বাচ্চা খাইয়ে লিছে
She did not get any relief, and she said that all this relief are misappropriated by the big shots of the local administration. So I did not get it. That is her complaint.
When did she last see grain or rice?
আচ্ছা, আপনি কয়দিন আগে ভাত খাইছেন?
বাত রোজার গেছে যে রোজার পরের থেকে বাজি জুতাম বাজি আনতাম মাগিয়ে দিকে
রোজা কয় মাস হবে এটা? It's 3 months she did not see a single plate of rice. She's just surviving on the gruel from flour.
Tell me something. How do people living so poorly and eating so badly, not eating at all, how do they survive? How do they survive for 3 months?
Well, it is strange enough, John, what I think, that people are prone to some sort of immunization. And I think this is particularly people of Bangladesh, they are immune to starvation. And the other thing is their will to live. And just, this is, you see...
Yes, but immunization can only last for so long.
yeah,
In the end,
that's
they
what-
can't live on.
And
their
that's what is
immunization.
happening. People are dying.
They're finally
Yeah,
dying.
finally dying. They struggle to survive, but ultimately they'll have to yield to death out of starvation.
Prime Minister, we have seen in villages situations which show no food at all. People have come up to us and said, we are eating leaves, we are starving, we have no food, we're not getting it from anywhere, quite close to Dhaka. Why should this be so?
You see, that is the, you can, some of the places this happens, but we have our open, free kitchen everywhere. The people are welcome to come there. And they have come. We have our camps, still we have not closed our camps. Of course, we have not closed the camps. The people have started working in the fields now. But, of course, this trouble is there. Such a serious flood and serious famine. We have not suppressed the news. We have already declared in the parliament that around about 27,000 people have died by starvation and by disease. We have not hide anything from anybody. It's a fact, natural calamity.